now it's time for the present perfect. Okay, this is another tense, and we're going to see when to use the present perfect and how to use it. So we have two main uses of the present perfect, and this is the first one, when to use the present perfect. The first one is we use present perfect for actions that started in the past but continue up to today. So here I have an example. Let's say that this is a timeline. So here we have the past, and we move. This is an action that started here in the past, in this point, and is true or is happening up to today. So an example would be like, I have traveled twice. Okay, I have traveled abroad twice. So this is an action that started in the past. Let's say that in 2010 I traveled abroad for the first time. And up to today I have traveled abroad twice. Okay, so that is true up to today. In 2010 I traveled for the first time, and I have traveled since that time. I have traveled twice, right? Or I can also say I have what? 5 times. Okay, I have watched that movie 5 times. I don't know. Let's say that there's a movie that you like a lot. For example, I don't know, The Mummy. Okay, if you like La Mumia, no, let's use another example. I like La Mumia. I know you don't. Let's say that you like a lot, I don't know, a good movie, Transformers. Okay? So let's say that you love Transformers. So you can say that you have watched that movie 5 times. Why is this present perfect? Because in the past, okay, you watched the movie for the first time, and since that time you have what? The second time, the third time, the fourth time, and up to today you have watched it 5 times. But you can continue watching the movie 6th or 7th or 8th time, right? So up to today, this is true. So that is the first use of the present perfect. Actions that started in the past and are true up to today. The second use is for indefinite past time. That means actions that happened in the past. Okay, so we have an action in the past, but we don't know the specific time in the past in which, or we don't know, or we don't want to emphasize the specific time in the past in which the action happened. So for example, we can say like a conversation. Like, have you met Bob? That's a question. Like I ask you, have you met Bob? And you can answer yes. Yes, I've met him. So we are using present perfect because, well, yeah, it's an action in the past. Someone or you already met Bob, but we don't know when. Okay, we are not saying like last year, we are not saying this weekend. No, okay, it's just an indefinite time in the past. When? We don't know. We only know that you have already met Bob. Okay, so we can say that Those are the two main uses of the present perfect. Now I'm going to show you or teach the formulas that we use to create sentences in simple past, in present perfect. So for affirmative sentences, we have subject plus has or have. This is the auxiliary that we use for the present perfect, the verb have. So remember that depending on the subject, if we have he, she, or it, we use has. For you, they, we, and I, we use have. But for he, she, and it, third person singular, we use has. Then the past plus the complement. Okay, so this is important, guys. We use this auxiliary and we need to use the past participle verb. So remember that we usually, actually for all verbs we have like the simple verb, the past verb, and the past participle verb. So for regular verbs, the past participle is going to be the same as the past verb. We only have to add an ed and that's all. But for irregular verbs, you need to know which is spelling on how to say that verb in past participle. I'm going to write an example for each of them. So with a regular verb, we can say, I have talked to you many times. Okay, that is present perfect. Have, because it's I, talked, past participle with ed. But what happens with an irregular verb? I have, let me change the subject so we can use has. She has taught many classes. So the verb teach, from teach, teaching, teach, is irregular. So we need to know that the past participle verb of teach is taught. She has taught many classes, right? Now, negative. In the negative, we have the same subject plus has or have plus not. Okay, that's the only thing that we need to add. We add a not before the past participle verb and then the complement. Okay, so just remember to add after the auxiliary and before the main verb. So I can transfer that by saying I have not, or I haven't. You can use the contraction I haven't, like this. I haven't talked to them, right? I haven't or I have not talked to them. We keep the past participle verb. Or she hasn't or she has not taught many classes, right? So it's the same, but we need to add the not after the have or the has. Okay, and the questions. Again, as we usually do with questions, we just need to move the auxiliary to the beginning of the question. So we have to start the question with has or have plus the subject plus past participle verb plus complement if necessary and question mark. Okay? So if I want to ask if she has taught many classes, I just move the has to the beginning of the sentence, right? So I say, has she taught many classes? don't forget the question mark. You always need to add the question mark because otherwise that will be incorrect. You can't never have the verb at the beginning of the sentence if you don't have a question mark. That will be incorrect. So, has she taught many classes? Two possible answers. Yes, subject, has or have, or no. Let me move this again. Move, subject, hasn't or haven't. So, with yes, no questions, we have only two possible options. Has she taught? Two possible answers. Has she taught many classes? Yes, she has, or no, she hasn't. If the question is with I, have you talked to them? No, I have. Yes, I have, or no, I haven't. Right? So you only need to pay attention. Who is the subject to choose the correct verb? And those are the structures. Okay? So, to finish, I'm going to teach you something else. Just give me a second. There are some words, actually 4 words, that are very frequent when we are using or talking in present perfect. These words are okay. These are the 2 first. Since. Since means this, right? So we use since to show when the activity or the action started. Remember that we have present perfect actions that started in the past and continued up to today. So we use since to know when the action started. So we can have an example like, I have worked in, I don't know, USA since 2000. Okay, so this is an action that started in the past. When? In 2000. And I have been doing this activity until today, up to today. So I have worked in USA since 2000. And for, you know what for means? For. So that means, or that emphasizes how long we have been doing the action. So I can say, I started working in the US since 2000. So I can say, I have worked here for 20 years, okay? I have worked in USA since 2000, and for that reason, I have worked here for 20 years, right? So those are 2 words that are very, very common in the simple and the present perfect. Now we also have, just to finish, we have already and yet. Already means yeah, and yet means how. Okay, so we also use these 2 words with the present perfect. How? Okay, already means yeah, and we use it to show that we have already done something. Like it's, I don't know, it's 2 p.m. So I have for 1 hour. Okay, so I can use I have already talked for 1 hour. That means that ya hablé for 1 hour, right? So it's something that I have already done, that I have completed, that I have done. And finally, we use yet, which means aún, for the negative sentences. For example, I haven't yet. Okay, for the negatives, we use yet. I haven't done my homework yet, and that means aún. And it always goes at the end of the sentence. Always, always at the end of the sentence. I haven't done my homework yet. Todavía no he hecho mi tarea. O no he hecho mi tarea todavía. But in English, we always use it at the end of the sentence. Okay? So these are words that are very common when talking in the present perfect. Just remember when to use each and pay attention to the position. Since and for before the time phrase. Already is between the auxiliary and the main verb, and yet goes at the end. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, we're going to discuss that during the class. So take care of yourselves. Bye bye.